Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
A table is a Workday prismatics object. Base data set and table are very similar, but there is a difference between them. Base data set contains the data, but it doesn't store the data. Let's say if a new file comes, it will replace the existing data or it will append the existing data and its work. But in the table, the moment a new file doesn't come, it stores the data basically into it. You can understand that it's basically a data storage thing. Let's say if I want to archive any data into the Prism, I will use that. I will use tables. The difference between this is in the next slide. The schema defined before the loading data, let's say when I create a table in the Prism. In table, I need to give the schema predefined. On the other hand, base dataset doesn't work in that way. The schema is basically the type of data. What is the field type? It's a true or false. It's a boolean or a numeric or a text. Whatever, what's the schema of it? Then the source type. It accepts any source type. It can be file dataset API. And base dataset only gets it from the SFTP. And the data validation, it validates the data on existing schema. In table, when we create a base data set, first of all, we need to select a data source. What is the data source? Of it, if it's a files, FTP or custom report, and then we create a base data set. But in the tables, first of all, we need to create a table first. And we need to mention what kind of schema it will, what kind of data is expected. And then we need to choose the data source. In tables, first of all, we need to create a table and then choose the data. And base data set, we need to first choose the data source. And then create the data set. Makes sense. This is a general idea. We will revisit this particular slide again because this is just an understanding regarding the concept of it. Once we will work in detail, we will have a better idea on it. Dataset workspace, a dataset workspace when you Prism as I mentioned you in the previous session that Prism was not part of the Workday. It wasn't in-house. Developed by the Workday. It was acquired by Workday a few years back. There is a Workday and Prism are almost similar, but the terminology might be a little bit different at a certain point of time. And there's a particular workspace for the Prism. Let me open the workspace and navigate you. The tenant is visible for you. Are you able to see the tenant? Yes, I can see your tenant. The function is data catalog. Data catalog. When we click on data catalog, we will be able to redirect it to it's known as Prism workspace. Over here, we will be able to see all the working related to Prism. Here, all the list of tables and data set will be here. Let's say that this button is for create. When I click on create, I will get an option to create table-derived data sets. And for base dataset from CFTP from files from custom report, this is the data change task and connections data change are. A task for what? When I'm getting any files from any external system, I will create a data change task on a recurring basis. Let's say I created a flow of the data where benefit and payroll data is there, but I need that date to be updated every monthly or every weekly. In order to do that, a data change task will be created. The connection is that CFTP connection with any system. That connection is basically a link that, let's say, if it is getting data from any SFTP, it will be mentioned in that connection. This is a create button. This is an all data. When I click on all data, it will get me all the information for a table and the data sets. This is a symbol of when I click on it, I will get all of them. This is a symbol of table, the grid format. This and here the type is also mentioned table. And the other, this icon which take two things. It's a data set. What kind of data set it is? It is mentioned in this type, that is it a derived data set or base data set. And if it's a base data set, it will show that base data set is type of what? It's a Workday report. Let's say click over here. You can see FTP file and custom report. This is a base data set, but it is created with a Workday report. The panel in which I'll be able to see the data sets. This is the connection. These are the connections which are existing in there. Let's say here there's a connection with Amazon S3 and they're getting the data from there. Let's say here the data is from SAP. We can do this connection over here and we will be able to see our configuration over here. Connections are basically nothing. It's just that a link. Let's say we will get an SFTP credential. We'll create, establish a connection and we'll mention the details of it, that it will get this file from this. This is the ID password, it need to log in every time. This is a data change task. In data change task, it is mentioned that from where it is getting the data and how it is appending it. Here you can see that pecan gender map gems.service to this particular data set or table. You can see that a file is coming with the name of .sesv and then it is getting ingested into any data set. Which is the name of pecan 2ed gender map gems. Likewise, here there are. Also different configuration. It's not always that file that can be other source as here we will get different options to ingest the file. Either we insert it or either we truncate and insert. Truncate and insert. What we will do is it will first of all delete the existing data and it will replace the new data. In some cases it depends on the scenario. Let's say we have scenario where we want to just append the data and we don't want to delete existing data. Use the insert option. And let's say we are getting a recurring data and the data is too much and we don't want the duplicates. In that case, use truncate and insert option. This is the last run date. When the last connection was run, this data change task was used on this particular date, this particular time. The time will be your system time. Let's say your tenant is located in US or let's say in Europe. It will take the time of that, not the actual time which you are working in. Then comes the data change activities. Here we found in data change tasks that all the configuration is there. But when I see the data change task, I will see all the data change task activities which are processing. Let's say I ingested a file from a particular system. Let's say this particular file is being inserted into table. If it is processing, the status will be, I will be able to see the status over here. This thing is very handy in understanding on a recurring file. But if a file is on a recurring basis, if you're getting interested, I can see the status with that, whether it's successfully completed or it is still loading. Then comes the data change activities over here, where if there's any change in the data set, I will be able to see it. When we publish a data set, be able to see that till when it got published or it is still in progress. Then, apart from it, I will be able to search all my data set over here. If I go on all data, I am able to see 67 results in the datasets and tables. Total these main numbers of data center tables are available. I can search it from here, and also I can click on this and I can apply the filter as, let's say I want the base dataset which has been created by uploading a file. I can apply a filter and I will get only those. I can also sort them by ascending and descending order. For all this, columns, name type, recent entries and loss modified, and I can search it manually from here. Apart from it, we can also filter by tags. Whenever we create a table or data set, it will ask us if you want to tag it by particular name or not. It's not a compulsory one, but it's a good practice to tag it. What are tags? Tags are nothing but just a domain for our understanding, which we create. Let's say here we created. We are creating a particular number of data sets and tables which are related to revenue billing or sales performance, and we will tag with that one. When we click on this, we will only get the data set and tables which are associated with it. Out of 67, only 24 results are there which are linked to this particular one. It makes it work very easy in navigating between the data sets. Any question? I was going to come back to the trunk option. Is trunk option a function? Because what I'm trying to understand is that if you have a data set, let's just say 50 or maybe 100 rows, and then you use an option with a truncate and adding another 200, it's going to remove the first initial 100 and put a new 200. But is it possible, for example, to use the truncate option to add this new 200 rows of data and not delete all 100 that you used to have? For example, only delete the 50. What I mean, creating a new file that has some elements of the old one but also takes the new one, or is it truncating, always deleting everything? When we create it, get multiple options. If I show you, here there's operations. Different options are there. If I filter on this, I will be able to see the options. Insert, truncate and insert and upsert. Insert will append the data. Let's say you already have 100 data, 100 rows, and there's a new data, and if I give insert, it will append it. It will append it as in 100 plus 200, which will become 300. It will keep on appending no matter if the data is duplicate or not. Likewise for truncated insert. Let's say there's 100 rows are there and I'm ingesting a file of 200. Before ingesting that, it will first of all remove that existing 101 and replace it with the 200. Then I will have told 200 number of rows into it. And for the upset is that, let's say if there's an existing row data of 100 and I'm ingesting the another one, it will first of all check that whether the existing row data is 100. Existing entry is there or not. Let's say if there is an employee ID with the employee number, that in theorem 1 and 1 2, and I am ingesting the data, if my new file has that data with any update, It will update the existing row and will not create another row, but let's say employee in 1003 is not there, it will insert, it will append that into the existing one. The only difference between insert and upsert is upsert will first of all check that whether there's already a data available. If yes, that will update the data, and if not, then only it will append. It will create a new row of it. Let me show within. An example by showing an Excel file will be and is there a maximum size of the file? I'm just thinking what would happen if you use insert and you have more data that you're supposed to have. Does it overwrite all data? I'm just not allowing to write on the file. There is certain limitation. That limitation of the file which you uploaded. On the Prism, there's some limitation of 200 MB. I have that exact number, which will come in the further one. Let's say the file size is exceeding than the requirement. Let's say in some cases, let's say we have only the limitation of 200 MB file which we are uploading and it crosses that. In that case, what do? Is in that case, we will break the file into different segments. When we break this file in different segments, then we will have to create different base data sets. My Excel is visible to you. Yes, I can see your Excel. Let's say I have a file which has 50,000 row data. 50 lakh rows are there, and the limitation is with not number of records, but the limitation is with number of data storage in MB and DB, megabytes and gigabytes. 50,000 rows are there. And let's say this is a count of, let's say 600 MBs there of this particular size. What do is break this file in 200 my 3 of them. 3 of them will we do it and then create a data set and join these 3 of them, 200 this. Break this in 3. Create one base data set. 2 second base data set second, base data set 3. And then we will create a derived data set to connect this 3 of them together. Again in the present. And that connection is really a good thing, because if you want to check if you have a duplicate between 1 or 3, you can do it with a connection. When we connect, when we do a join or union out of it, use a key. Key, how it will work. Let's say base data set 1 is there and base data set 2 is there, and we are combining it together. If it is, let's say if employee IDs are unique, let's say it will contain 1 to 100 employees, and it is containing 1 to 200 employees. In this terms, what do is do a union, because we know that it doesn't have any. It has unique number of workers. But let's say I feel that there might be a case where there might not be unique cases, there might be duplication. In that terms, use a join. In join, what will happen is we will join this data set with the help of key join key. In that I will use employee id, which is unique for every worker, and here also employee it should be unique for every worker. It will join this 2 and will only bring the duplicate. It will duplicate, it will bring only the unique values out of it. Makes sense. We will join it basically together. When we join it, you will understand. Basically, it's a join. Use a key. Key basically helps in identifying the unique values and only bringing us the unique values. On the other end, union. It will just combine the data together away. Any other questions regarding this? No, not at this point. As I mentioned you for the tags, it is very much preferred to tag your projects. Let's say I am working on a project which deals with a job requisition dashboard. I had a requirement to create a job requisition dashboard. And in Workday, there is no data available for job requisition. Currently, the stakeholders are using a legacy system for it. For now, we are getting the basic worker demographic data from Workday. We are extracting it via custom report and we are getting the attention job request data from our legacy system. We are merging it together into the Workday and in Prism. And we are working on it. I can create a filter tag out of it and I can name it as a job requisition dashboard. Whenever I work on that particular project, I can filter it out and I can only see that particular data sets and tables which are associated to the project. Let me see if I'm missing any pointers. Spectre panel pipeline. Also, when I click, let's say when I go to data, there's all data. And when I click on any particular, let's say this is a little bit. The table. This is a sample table. I don't know if it would be correct. Yes, I click on existing table. It will show me all the details when it was created and last modified. It will show me in details of the table. It is being successfully completed, ingested with the data. It is enabled for analysis, the description of it, that what data is covered into it. When we create a table or data set, we can enter the description of it. Let's say if any third person is referring to this particular table or data set, it would be easy for them to understand it. If it is modified for someone who modified the last one, then data source security, that is any security assigned to it or not. It is the status which is available for the data. Data set or not. Dependency as is it connected with any other data set. Let's say if you are using this table as a source of any derived data set, that will show the dependency or it is imported by any someone and there's a data change task. This table is used to ingest the data from any particular. Basically, this is an upstream. This table is getting data from a derived data set. Here you can see that switch ds1 to dnu this table, the name of the table. It's an upstream one. If it's a downstream, that means it is getting data from somewhere and then it is getting ingested into the table. Then there's a field. Here I can see that. What are the fields are there inside this table? This table contains 11 fields and these are the fields which are there into it. Likewise, when I click on derived dataset, for derived datasets also, I will get all the similar information. The only difference is in derived dataset. I will be able to see whether the dataset was published or not. If it was published, I will be able to see the last published date. As I mentioned you, when I publish a dataset, it will be available for discovery boards as for the reporting inside the work team. Any confusion in here? No, but I'm thinking what if, who declares the security on the dataset? For example, can I say this one is not editable? It's own. For me and for one other person, for example, who decides the security on that? Is it a separate one or not? That is being defined here, the domains which we discussed. One is Prism Dataset Owner Manage and one is Manage. Manage can edit the Prism datasets and do some calculation into it. But Owner can edit, delete and apply security as it has Owner Manage security and this is just only manage it. The person who has got assigned with Owner Manage can share this dataset with someone and also delete this dataset and can edit as. But if someone has this domain access, they are able to only do some basic. editing means, not basic. But regarding some calculation, let's say they want to add some stage. They want to join something. They want to add some calculate field. They can do it. But they can't share this data set with someone, or they can't delete this data set. This particular who to question for you. The question which you're asking, that who will decide which access to give to whom. That company decides that whether you are, if you're an individual contributor, they may not give you owner manage. They might give this to your manager or someone on a higher level. That is your question. What about situation when somebody did something and you want to roll back the changes? Do you have an option to roll back some changes? If somebody who has access and maybe did mistake, is it an option to roll back or an option to see the logs? To see what was the last change, because you showed me that one information, there is the who was the last person who edited that. But this is more data information, what that person edited. For example, yes, we will get the information about when it was last modified. And where and who is the last modification over here, that last modified by Siddharth. This guy did it, but what changes we are done that we won't be able to do it in Workday in report. We had that audit task and that will come to net what changes are being done. But here, just only know that someone has this sum added. At what time? Not the exact one, that what changes has been done. The audit trail which you're referring to is not available in Prism. I see. That's the reason. If let's say someone is creating a data set, it is referred that they create a separate data set and do some working. Let's say if I'm using, let's say it's this is a PEDS employee overview, and if I want to take a reference of it, I can click on it and here I can make a copy of it. And you can work on your own copy and you're not gonna override something for someone. Exactly, it will avoid the issue and it's a very standard practice to make a copy. Why? Because when it is in testing phase, it won't impact. But let's say if some project is live, let's say the payroll data is live, and by mistake you did some editing into the live data set and it will affect the things in a real time scenario. Let's say you some filter condition and is working not in your favor, and those changes will work against your viewers because it's a goal live project. It will impact the business in real time. That's the thing. Any other questions regarding this? No, I don't think here when we covered this particular part. Apart from it, when we click this is a related action and it's open the menu of that particular table or data set when they click on it. As I get a multiple option to view the data set or table to view the lineage, edit transformation. Share, as I told you, we have that owner manage one. That's why we're getting the share option. Otherwise, generally, we won't get this share option. Then make a copy of it and delete it. These two options, share and delete, will only be for the owner management only. Let's say when I click on PDS, it will open this in a new tab. Over there, it will be a view mode only. I'll be able to view what that data set consists of. Here I can see that is a data set is there. PDA sample overview, and I will do this fields that this many. Fields are there and what the things are. Here the description is. What is the description of the data set? Here someone has only mentioned the copy, nothing else. Then there's an AP name. When we create a data set, when we give a name of it, we will automatically get an AP name. We can also modify the AP name, but AP name cannot be changed after it is created. Let's say when I was creating this data set, I gave this name as AP this one. During that I gave but post that I won't be able to modify it and it will have no space with it. It will have underscore between it. It will be alphanumeric, but without any spaces. The API function. It is a unique identification of the data set in the system, because there might be a chance that there might be some very similar name of the data set. Makes it very unique for each and every data set to identify it. Makes sense. Then here it will mention the source type, that whether the source type is a table-based data set or a derived data set. This data set was created and the source was derived data set. Then the tag is there. Someone has mentioned their initials in the tag, that they can do it, when it was last published. Created, who created it, who modified it, and where it was modified, and the status it is published or not, and what is the source of it, and is there a dependency, and how many data rows got published. This is the one. Apart from it, this is the field. Basically, when we open a data set, we will get the things into two segments. One list view and one is a detail view or the table view. In the list view, we will get an affair idea regarding the distinct values, nulls and medians and top end value. It is very important. When we have too many data and we want an overview regarding the data, that whether the data is being ingested correctly or not, we will know that. There are 26 unique employer IDs are there, and here the top end values are written. The first name, 26 distinct first names are there. Last name also unique. There is no any repetition in the supervisory organization also in that way. Then the current performance rating. This is a field with current performance rating. It is rating from 1 to 5. Here the median rating is 4, which we can see that. There are 311 records with which has entry of 3, which is it accounts to 42%. Then there are 4 records. There are 11 records for rating as 4. And there are 4 records for 5 rating. If we count the median, it will come as 4. Likewise, for benefit score, it is from 1 to 100. There are 15 distinct scores which are from 1 to 100. And here it's bifurcation that 3 people got 73. Then 3 people got 89 and 2 people got 71 score. It's basically understanding the data on a macro level to understand the overview of it. Then when we go to the detailed data, it will show us a sample file, and the only and here there is a limitation that we will only be able to see the sample data of first 20,000 rows. Up to 20,000 rows, be able to see all the data over here. But let's say it's exceeding more than 20,000 rows, we won't be able to see the data over here. It will be blank, or it will be limited to 20,000 and the rest will be. We won't be able to see it. Definitely it's a sample one. It's a sample data. When we publish it, be able to do it. Be able to see it also. But for the testing purpose, this is a sample view of only 20,000 rows only. Got? If you want to have a more than 20 key, you need to, I don't know, this is a file, Excel file or something that it know here we can use. Then we can have more than 20,000 rows in our file, but it won't display over here as a sample. Here only first 20. 1,000 records will come as a sample. It can have up to means 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakh, whatever the recorded this, but it will for the sample purpose. It will only show me 20,000. What's the meaning of sample? Let's say I created a calculated field. I did some modification. Let's say your first time and last time is there. And I am creating a calculate field for merging it as a full name with hyphen in between. When I do this, I just need to state that whether it's done correctly or not. For that, the sample file is being used. Here I connected. And we can rescue the snow and pears. I join them together. I want to see that. How does it? How? What's the sample of? it, I can see the sample over here. The Prism can process the data, but this is just a sample to see that what the data consists in this particular data set, just to get an understanding of it. That is the thing in this one. Here detailed data get from here. We can also search the field as from here. Let's say in this case, the number of columns are very less. We are able to navigate it by step, adding on the left side, but sometimes the number of columns are too much. We can search it from here, and let's say if I want to go to benefit wellness score, I can click on it and it automatically take it me on the side. Apart from it, I can here are the quick action. If I want to edit the transformation, this is only view mode of the dataset. When I click on edit transformation, it will go in edit format, and this is the published dataset. Then questions. When you publish, is it possible to only publish few rows, for example, a 200? But you find out only 50 of them are receiving some benefits, some specific benefits, and you only want to publish these people to someone. Is it possible? Possible. Yes, in our data set, we can apply a filter condition that if there is a change in the benefit, or if this, let's say here, when the benefit wellness score exceeds more than 70, then it should get published. In that case, we can add a condition that, let's say this data. This particular lineage works on a weekly basis or monthly basis and refreshes the data on that frequency, and that if my score goes above 70, only then only it should publish, or else it shouldn't be published. I can add a stage with the filter condition, mentioning that one. It's you first sort it and then you publish it, but it's still same data set. You don't create a new data set for this 50, only to publish that. We can also do that. If I want to do a separate data set for it, I can create a separate data set and publish that as what are the, if I were to compare these two solutions, what are the pluses and minuses of that? First of all, if you need to create a new data, it's probably going to take some space. It's going to take some time. It's easier, faster probably to do a filter, sort it out and publish. But for a person receiving that, is there a difference if you publish the new created data set of 50 versus the sorted 50 from the old data set of 200? Is there a difference for a person receiving that or not? The person receiving it for both the approach, it will be the same. It won't matter much. But when we work as a para-admin or Prism analyst, our main role is to make the process as much easier as much possible. It is advised to not to create too many data set if you are able to do some certain tasks into one data set. Definitely there is a need to create a different data set if the logic is very different. Let's say if we are having some different approach, we are doing some calculation, different data set, and then merging it together. It makes sense to bifurcate the logic into different methods, data sets, but when the changes transformation can be done within one data set, it is preferred to one. Why? Because the more the number of data sets have been created, the more time it will take for data to flow from one to another. It will be in seconds only. It won't hamper. But when the size of data is bigger, it actually accounts to that particular thing. If I show you the lineage, let me show you the lineage. If I show you the lineage, this PDS overview is there. View lineage. When I open the lineage, it will show me a graphical representation of how the data flows from where to where. Here I can see that the data flows from where to where. There is a employee benefit data and this is the performance data. These are the base data set. The data set in blue represents the base data set and the orange shows the data set. Here I can see that this data is getting from this one and this one and is combining it in employee overview. Let's say if it goes more. If it will account to more processing further going ahead. To avoid it, I can limit it to a certain number of data sets only. A graph for our relating databases. Correct. It shows the data flow of it. The lineage shows where the data flows to where. To get an understanding overview regarding the data, here it is very simple. It is very easy to understand that the benefit data and performance data are getting combined and are going to the employee overview. I am able to understand the flow of the data, that where the data is flowing from where. The lineage is very helpful when the work gets very complicated. There might be 20, 24, 30 data sets being created. And there are too many data sets coming from different systems and you are connecting it together. It will give you an idea that the data is flowing from where to where. It might be a challenge to manage that if you have a plenty of them and there is some confusion on how the data flow. Exactly, the option, if the conventional method, I will say then we will have to go here. And if I go to edit the transformation here is the also quick action and I go to edit. Transformation here, it's loading. In edit transformation, I will be able to see. See here I'm able to see that this data set is importing the data from BDS tree employee performance. But this is a manual thing. In manual thing for when we are working with data set, which is 30-40 data sets are there or tables are there which are included. I won't be able to see in each individual and see that which data set is including which base data set. From when I refer the lineage, it will be easy for me to understand. Says yes, this data set is getting data from this. And this, it is doing some transformation over here and is sending it out to the other thing. This makes sense more? When you work with a complex scenario, and when it also errors out. Let's say I have created a complex thing, and when it errors out, it will show an yellow triangular shape with an error. Let's say if there is some error with particular data set, I will come to know with the lineage only that this particular thing is an error. I don't need to review each and every data set by going into inside each of them. I can open the lineage and lineage will show that this particular data set has lineage or this particular. The data set hasn't been published since long. It will have outdated data. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.